This lesson is a fun lesson to do. It's relatively novel for the awareness through movement lessons because instead of being on the floor doing the work, you have your foot or your feet on the wall. And we're going to play with different positions with the feet, with pressure, different ways, getting a sense of how force can travel through our bodies and kind of connect us. In the Tai Chi classics, we basically say that the force comes up through the feet, through the legs, gets steered through the waist, through the spine, and it's manifested in our hands. This type of lesson can sort of give you a little bit of access to that sort of idea because we'll be resting with our feet on the wall and our back on the floor, so you'll be able to kind of feel the back as you do it. It's a comfortable position also to rest in. And if you were so inclined, you could certainly do some abdominal strengthening in this position as well. Sometimes I'll do that as well as work on your shoulder mobility, depending on what you like to do. So, like any of the lessons, we'll start by lying on the back. You can go ahead and do so. I'm not going to do it myself just because of the constraints of the position of the camera. So you'll lie on your back, take a moment to settle, and notice what you notice. Notice the distribution of pressure that your body makes on the surface. And notice the spaces between your body and the surface. For example, the space into your lower back. If it's not possible for you to comfortably get onto the floor, don't do so. But you may be able to do this in your bed. It won't have the same effect in terms of a bed might not be as firm a surface, but don't be discouraged about doing it in your bed. If you have the ability to lie in your bed with your feet on the wall, this could be a useful lesson for you as well. Okay, so let's get into the position. I'm going to be in a 90-90 position. My hips will be bent 90 degrees, as will my knees. And my feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. And just lie comfortably in that position for a few moments. Have something under your head if it's more comfortable. And like I've said before, in Feldenkrais, we focus our movements in such a way where we use less and less effort. We move slowly because force produces strain, strain produces tension, and the tension blocks our ability to feel our connections. In Tai Chi, there's an important principle of not pushing into the ground. So in this lesson, even though there may be instruction to press your foot into the wall, think of it in a way where you could be lighter, right? So you could press and you could lift away at the same time. And this will keep your body in a softer state. Good. So start just by gently pressing through both feet, very lightly, and then letting it go. And pausing and sensing, how was that? One more time. And let it go. Now we're going to coordinate it with your breath. You're going to exhale and then press. Exhale, press. And let it go. Now just press through your right leg. Notice where the force goes. Can you feel it up to the hip? Can you feel it in the chest? How about the head? Good. Switching to your other foot. Exhale. Gently press. And notice what you notice. Good. And then return to pressing through both gently. Exhale and press. And feel how it's changed. Good. And now just press with a little more force so you can feel that your pelvis begins to tilt back and your lower back begins to flatten. Good. And press a little more so you feel that the force keeps going up, goes all the way up through your ribs into your head. Good. And now press just with the right, with a little more force than you had before. And the left, and feel the difference between the two. And rest. And one last time, exhale, gently press through both feet and feel the difference. Do you notice more movement? More participation of your spine and the head? Okay, rest completely. If you want to roll to your side, you can do that. If you want to rest on your back, you can do that. Just take a few moments. In our Feldenkrais training program, these types of lessons would sometimes take about an hour. But I think most folks don't have the patience to do that. So I try to keep them short, but I know 20 minutes is still long for folks, but I don't time myself, so I do my best. Hopefully you still enjoy them. Come back to the same position. Whichever leg feels, press once or twice through each leg. Whichever leg feels more connected. Connected in the sense that you can feel that the force just goes up and through the body. Whichever leg feels more connected, let's just stick with that leg, that foot. And start by imagining that your foot is in the center of a clock. 12 o'clock is up, 6 is down, 3 is right, 9 is left. Move your foot about an inch or 2 inches up towards 12. Don't move it a lot, just a little bit. It doesn't take a lot to make a difference in the way a movement feels. And come back to the gentle exhale with the gentle press. And feel what that's like. 2 or 3 times in that position. Really slow. Take like 5 or 10 seconds to perform the movement. And rest in between. Each time you begin the movement, feel as though the movement is the first time you've ever done it. Novelty is a very important part of learning. Move the foot slightly downward towards 6 and press from there. Now, I kind of cheat when I do these lessons now because I introduce principles from Tai Chi, right? So one of the principles that I'm working with as we're doing the lesson here is try not to push, right? So I find a different way to connect to the wall. Another principle I'm using is spiraling. Right? So initially, I have an outward spiral, and then I release, and it's an inward spiral. Right? So when it's the outward spiral, I feel like it's kind of pulling me into the wall, and I feel a sense of compression. Then when I release, I feel a connection. The yin energy, the yin chi, as I understand it, has more of a spiraling nature, whereas the yang chi is more linear and moves through our bones. So don't, ignore what I said and just continue with the lesson in the way that you're doing it, gently applying pressure and feeling the results. Bring your foot back to the center. And now, again, both feet pressing together. How is that now? Good. Now, an inch or 2 to the right towards 3 o'clock. Gently pressing. Exhale. I can see a hawk outside the window. That's what I was looking at. Gently pressing and feel the difference. How does that affect the pelvis? Move the foot towards 9 o'clock. Gently pressing. How does that affect the right side of the rib cage compared to the left side? Which side gets longer? Or do they stay equal? Come back to the middle. Rest for a moment. Now tilt your leg slightly to the outside so that you're moving from your hip joint and you're resting a little more on the outside of your foot. Right? So the pressure comes through the outside of your foot and you keep your foot and your leg in that position. Exhale and gently press. And notice what you notice. Tilt your leg to the inside. Now you're pressing through the inside of your foot. Come back to the middle. Now tilt your right, same foot, tilt it to the outside, but keep the knee where it was before, right? So don't move the knee. So now you're moving from the ankle. If you need to secure the leg with your hand, that's okay. And then press a few times in that position. Good. And then tilt onto the inside of the foot from the ankle. And press from there. Good. Leave that and rest. Turn the heel slightly to the right. So you're pivoting on the forefoot. Say maybe like 10 or 20 degrees. That's going to turn your lower leg and press from there. Turn it to the inside. And rest. Now having your heel as the pivot point, turn the toes to the outside. And press. And turn to the inside. Good. And back to the middle. And exhale and gently press. And feel how that can flatten the lower middle back. Right? So it's like the kidneys fill up with fluid and the lower back gets wider. It's like you are opening the back with this soft feeling of energy. Exhaling, gently pressing. Move your left foot down an inch and your right foot up an inch. Exhale, gently press. Notice what you notice. Switch your feet. Good, and we'll just finish in the beginning position, exhaling and pressing and noticing. How is it now? You'll roll to your side, lie on your back, and rest. How is your contact now? Roll to your side, come to sitting, come to standing. How is your standing? How is your sense of awareness of the ground? As you stand and walk throughout the day, you are in an infinite number of situations where the ground's texture, the surface is changing, the angles are changing. The floor is even, the floor is uneven. So our feet and our legs are making spontaneous adjustments throughout the day that help keep us from falling. A lesson like this just kind of gets into some of the more subtle ways in which force can travel through the body. If you're a Tai Chi practitioner, I think doing something like this could be useful before you start your training, right? Before you start doing your standing practice, or before you start doing your push hands or your forms. Mainly because I feel like something like this will really help get you grounded and will help to eliminate a lot of the unnecessary muscular tension that you're not aware that you're carrying. Just having a standing practice in Tai Chi alone, I don't think is enough for most people to learn how to really let go of tension, because you're not generally aware of it. And if you're not aware of it, it's next to impossible to reduce it. You can create countless variations of this lesson on your own. You could do it very briefly, could just be a 1 or 2 minute lesson. So long as you don't use a lot of force and you're very gentle and curious with the movement, you'll experience a transformation in the way that you feel.